guys, here is 14 minutes of useful League of Legends information and tips. Don't forget to sub if you enjoy, and let's get into things. Did you know that Nico can completely dodge turret aggro if she turns into a ward? While it would be pretty obvious you're not actually a ward if you're moving, it can still give you a chance to safely get past a turret. It is also worth noting though that this only works for wards. For example, it doesn't work with jungle monsters or even jungle plants, so keep that in mind. Did you know that when playing Alawi, mana isn't taken from your Q or E until halfway through your animation? Meaning if you cast your W right after your Q really fast, you can actually get off your W for free even if you don't have enough mana to cast it. In other words, you can essentially get 2 abilities for the price of 1. This also works for her E, so if you E and then W really fast, you can basically cast her W for free too. As you can see, I only had 39 mana when I cast my E here, but I still managed to get off my W as well. So the next time you see an Alawi with no mana, just remember she can still slap you. Have you ever thought that some Gangplank barrels just randomly did way more damage than others? Well, you may not be as crazy as you think, because a lot of people don't actually know you can store a Sheen proc in a barrel without detonating it. If you auto a barrel with Sheen up, it'll actually store that enhanced damage in the barrel for whenever the next time you blow it up. And that is of course regardless if you actually have a Sheen proc up at the time, since you already stored it in that barrel earlier. And as you can see, that's a lot more damage from a barrel with the extra Sheen damage than opposed to without the Sheen damage. Basically just one more thing to look out when facing Gangplank mains. Did you know that Annie's E actually does damage to her enemies when she's damaged? Meaning sometimes in the right circumstances, it can actually be worth purposely hurting yourself in order to maybe get a kill if someone's low. Like this clip for example. And while you're watching that, I want to talk to you about one of my favorite sponsors, Display. This is actually such a sick company that sells high quality metal posters that have some of the coolest designs out there. I mean, look how sick these are. Also, this again is why it's sometimes good to step on a shroom. It's pretty satisfying if you can pull it off. Side note, did you know you can combo Skarner's new ultimate with Callista and just send people? It's kind of insane actually. Also, there are over 2 million artworks available for Display, so I guarantee there's something you'd like. And again, I just can't stress the quality enough. Metal posters are so nice, not just because it's a solid piece of material, but also because of the magnets that you use to put them on your wall, which one makes them insanely easy to put up. You don't need any tools, but also it's insanely easy to micro adjust and level, which is a pain with most posters. Plus you can swap them out easily with other displays too. Also, isn't that just kind of a disgusting combo? Think of the potential plays you could pull off with that. Speaking of sick combos, if you're a Khan going up against a Maokai, just consider taking them for a ride whenever they want to use W. But seriously guys, this is one of my favorite sponsors. I've had displays before even working with them, which is why this is even more exciting. Plus this is huge. They're even adding a new Textra display which will have premium print finishes, which actually look amazing. So make sure to check out Display using my link below, which will also help support me too. And make sure to check out their new Textra designs as well. Thanks guys. A lot of people don't know, right? Actually added in a new passive for Rift Herald in season 14 called Rift Herald Gaze. And if that sounds familiar, it should, because it's essentially the same passive Baron had, but it was called Baron's Gaze. The passive makes it so that it takes 50% reduced damage for 8 seconds from the unit that it most recently hit with a basic attack, being effective against only one unit at a time. However, the difference between Baron and Rift Herald is Rift can actually be kited a bit to avoid the passive as long as possible, so you can get a lot more damage out before getting hit with the 50% damage reduction. If you're a ranged champion, you can just kite away like normal for as long as you can, but if you're a melee champion, instead of hitting it straight on like most people do and getting knocked back a long ways, it's a lot better to walk to the wall and hug the wall so you don't get pushed away as far and can still be in range to do as much damage as possible until she hits you. Alternatively, if you're a champion with minions like Elise or Yorick, you can just have them tank Rift for you, which will avoid the debuff completely. Okay, this one's kind of crazy, but did you know that Udyr has a voice line that is incredibly useful and actually kind of broken? Essentially, whenever an epic monster is taken on the other team, Udyr will say one of 2 voice lines.
A great beast has been felled without proper rites.
Or,
I venerate my kills. My enemies, they revel in theirs.
why is this important though? Well, for example, if someone on the other team were doing grubs, after they kill the grub, you may hear Udyr say this voice line, and with that information, you can instantly know that they're in the Baron pit trying to take them. And while some people will say that they'll notify you anyways after the grubs are taken, that's only after all 3 are killed. However, the voice lines can be heard when only 1 or 2 are defeated. It's literally free and actually really useful information. Here's a full clip where the other team is taking grubs, and right after one dies, you can hear the exact voice line being played.
A great beast has been felled without proper rites.
Did you know that when playing Rise, you can stop yourself from teleporting with your ult if you hit the recall button? Additionally, you can also use your ult to manipulate the wave, which a lot of people don't do. You can essentially throw your minions into their turret so they don't get gold or XP, and also at the same time freeze minions on your side. This is also even easier when using the recall trick so you don't accidentally teleport as well. Speaking of wave manipulation, here's a simple trick that a lot of people don't utilize that could easily win the game off of the first wave. If you're in the top lane or in the bot lane and you see the other team leashing, take some aggro from the first approaching wave so the minions aggro resets onto one of your minions, essentially killing it before the opposing laner arrives. Normally the damage would be spread out over multiple minions, but by resetting the aggro you can get them to gang up on one, killing it quickly. This trick not only denies them gold, but more importantly it can deny them XP, which can get you a free level 2 advantage. You can then use that level 2 power spike to zone them completely off the wave, setting up a slow push, which then sets up a free recall, or even a tower dive, which would essentially win the entire lane for you because not only would they die, but they would also lose the entire wave. Here's kind of a fun, stupid trick if you have someone on your team who has some kind of invisible trap like Jhin or Shaco. Try baiting the other team into thinking you accidentally TP'd by having a teammate TP on your invisible trap and you just stand still. That way it looks like you can't move because of a misclick TP, only for them to quickly realize it was a bait. Someone made this website called QDodger to help you warm up for a game without actually having to play a full game to warm up. It's kind of like the aim labs of League. I'd still personally recommend warming up in a real game, but if you're on a time crunch, this is a pretty good alternative. The controls are really similar to League 2. It has abilities, dashes, and even attack moving. There's also a ranked mode if you really want. Nevertheless, it could just be a fun, helpful way to get your hands moving. If you're looking for some pay-to-win skins, Deep Terror Thresh and Project Pike are some great options. Deep Terror Thresh's recall looks a lot like a wind-up for his hook animation, and it's even more convincing when you flash recall. Also, Project Pike's dance animation looks really similar to the jumping that he does during his ultimate. This could easily bait out a flash before actually ulting, and then you could just finish them with your actual ult. Speaking of Pike, did you know that his music actually changes when he's in execute range? This is what it sounds like when your health is above execute range. And this is what it sounds like when your health is low enough to be executed. When playing Yasuo, one of the tricks you should really know is how to use jungle camps to get over walls. However, it can actually be a little bit harder than it looks since it's easy to misclick. With that said, if you use the target champions only key, it can help make positioning yourself a lot easier for the jump. For those who don't know, target champions only is a setting that is by default on your dingling key, but this can easily be changed to any key in the settings. And of course, this key does exactly as it says. It only allows you to attack champions, which is actually really useful for hitting people behind turrets or in big minion waves. Additionally, another cool trick that you can do with him is to bait out the chickens from their camp to help you hop over the mid wall. This is really useful if you're trying to get vision, clear vision, or just set something up without them knowing. Did you know that it's actually possible to crit turrets and deal more damage to them while aiming at a target behind the turret than at the turret itself? This is ridiculously situational, but it could help you get a turret faster. When playing Twisted Fate, try autoing right before you pick a card to fake throwing your gold card and then try and bait out a spell shield. Yo, puppy, subscribe and thank you. A lot of people who play Kali don't actually know that when you use your E on your W, you can use it as an anchor, so whenever you cast it again, you'll be able to E straight back to your shroud. This is a great tool to have for engaging on enemies that you don't want to quite fully commit to, but think you may be able to take them down really quick and then get out. This little EW combo can also be really useful for when you're at the shop waiting for a few extra gold, because instead of just standing on the edge waiting for it, you can walk out, drop your shroud, use your E on it, go back to the fountain when you have enough gold, and then just E back, wasting barely any time. The same concept works for a lot of abilities out there like Yone's E too. This is just a reminder, especially now that there are no longer mythic items, that when playing with an Ornn, not all items are equal. Some items are a lot better than others when they're upgraded. This is just kind of a generic tier list showing which items you should get upgraded. Also, in order to make sure that the item gets upgraded, make sure to put that item in the first item slot. Before, it was a lot easier since it was pretty much always your mythic item that would get upgraded, and since everyone usually bought it first too, it wasn't much of an issue. But now, since you can pretty much buy whatever you want, there are a lot more people out there getting their weaker item upgraded, but they don't even know it. You can try to remember doing this in game, or you can even pre-select those items ahead of time so that when you buy that item, it automatically goes into the first item slot. From your client, just go to collection, item, make an item set, and now you can pick the items that you want upgraded to be placed in the first item slot automatically when you buy it. but it does have to be in the specific screen in game. You can even make this for specific champions as well. One thing I also like to do is add in active items that I use on specific keybinds so that when I'm playing, I don't accidentally leave an item on the wrong number and forget to use that active, which I've done a lot. For example, I use the Tiamat active on my 2 key, so now I have it set up whenever I buy Tiamat from the item list, it automatically puts Tiamat on my 2 key instead of 1, even if it's my only item. This is even more so important with items like Zhonya's because, well, it kind of sucks when you think you're going to be fine only to find out that you have the item on the wrong button, so nothing is happening. Also, just so you know, this tab is where you buy the items in game, and it's also its own little entire item screen that you can customize however you like. When playing Smolder, sometimes it's actually better to ask mom to ult backwards instead of forwards. While ulting forwards can get you a lot more range, ulting backwards gives them a lot less time to react. So if you're close enough and just looking for that extra bit of damage, it may be the play. Did you know that even when you die, you can still get extra Magi stacks from assists that you collect while you're dead? And in case you didn't know, you get 2 stacks for Magi's and only 1 for Dark Seal. So for example, if you had a Dark Seal, you could just buy a Magi's while you're dead and rake in the extra assists, and then after the fight's over, just undo your Magi's purchase and you can get your Dark Seal back for free but with the extra stacks. And that's exactly what this guy did.
Yo, I buy Magi's here, right? I get the assist. I get the increased stacks over Dark Seal. I'm at 7. I'm at 9, right? Okay, check this out. I'm at 9. I undo. I'm on 9 on Dark Seal. And then I go Moonstone. Oh my god, that is fucking the tech, dude.
Did you know you can actually go into the enemy team's fountain a little as long as you're invisible? You can actually go up to about the 3rd step until True Sight kicks in, which at that point, it will start killing you. And of course, if your invisibility runs out, it'll also kill you. If you're ever playing Poppy and your opponent is low trying to hide under their tower, try setting yourself up on their side of the map, ulting with just a little power, just enough to get them out of their turret so you can kill them. You don't need to dive them if you can just move them. Also, even if you can't kill them, at the very least, you'll deny them a lot of XP and gold since your wave is still crashing. A lot of people know that the Hex Tech portals can be used to dodge abilities, like even a Karthus ult. But did you know that you can use the Hex Tech portals to fly by and pick up the Rift Herald after it's been taken?
As KT going to struggle to collect the eye here. Oh, that is so cute! I did not know you could drive by eye collect. Oh my god.
When Skarner was first released, his E was actually one of the few abilities that could interrupt Yone's E on his way back. But unfortunately, they now changed it so it's an applied slow. But I guess at least it's something. This one's for more newer players out there, but a lot of people I ran into didn't know that the fountain actually heals you way faster depending on where you're standing and at what time the game is at. For example, if the game is before the 20-minute mark, the fountain heals the same no matter where you're standing. So it's fine to wait on the edge of the fountain so you're a bit closer to lane once you're fully healed. However, once the game is past the 20-minute mark, you'll heal way quicker standing in the back of the fountain thanks to home guards that's kicking in. You'll also receive an extra speed boost. So yeah, stop standing in the front of the fountain after 20 minutes. This is kind of a hit or miss one, but if you died in lane and the enemy is taking plates or trying to push the wave in, you could just try typing an all chat to them saying "see ya" in the champion's name, or just pretend like you meant to say something to your team but accidentally put in an all chat like "no sums should be a free kill" or something with the intention of making them think they're about to get ganked. I mean, it's obviously not going to work all the time and probably not even most of the time, but if it does get them to back off early, that's free. And I have personally seen this work. Did you know if you have 3 wards out, you can actually hover over your next ward and it will tell you which ward will be destroyed if another is placed down. It actually shows up as a red X on the minimap, and if you're close enough to it on the map, it'll also even turn the number red. When playing Kled, a lot of people forget that his ult can actually be used to go over small walls. Additionally, Kled's second E can also be used to go over small walls, but his first can't. Lastly, I see a lot of people only use Kled's ult for an engage from far away. But people also forget that Kled's ult is basically a free knockup that also gives him a shield, so it's fine to use it in close range fights. In fact, it's probably recommended. When you're in solo queue, especially when ganking, sometimes it's actually really smart to pop an emote to see if a bush is warded. A lot of the time, if you throw an emote up, they'll respond back with one if they can see you, so you can basically get free information. In fact, it's not even limited to just solo queue because pro players like Aki from NIP have even admitted to using this strategy successfully. When playing Malzahar, you can actually use your W to see over small walls like the Dragon Pit. Also, a lot of people don't know that Malzahar's ult does essentially the same amount of damage no matter how long you suck suck for. So even though a long suck is ideal, a short suck is also pretty deadly. In other words, sometimes it's okay to pull a K-Drill. And lastly, a lot of people didn't know that if Thresh throws his lantern out, you can actually click it. Yeah, pretty crazy. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to sub if you enjoyed, and I will see you next time. A ginormous shout out to my incredible patrons and supporters, We Hat Gooseman and Hegel, and a huge shout out to the one and only Wolf for being a tier freaking 3 patron again, taking that goated spot. All right, seriously, thank you guys so much, and I will see you next time. Bye.